Have you ever been somewhere that you can immediately tell has a story? Rain is falling over the 40 sprawling acres of Freewoods Farm. 40 acres and a mule named Maggie. Farmer Smalls invites me to sit by the fire, and I'm all ears.
Well, Freewoods Farm is a living farm museum. And we tell the story of the role of farming in African American history after the Civil War. At the end of the Civil War, you had almost 4 million newly freed slaves. And of course, we've been in slavery for about 2.5 centuries of slavery in the United States.
Despite their newly found freedom, the majority of these individuals were left with no education, no money, or even somewhere to go.
And the big question in the country at the time was, what are you going to do with these 4 million people? Well, this became a problem for General Sherman because you had a lot of emancipated people following the Union Army in order to get food and to get away from those plantations. So what he did, he took a strip of land stretching all the way from Charleston down to Florida that he called captured land. It's land that his military had captured. He took that strip of land, chopped it up into 40-acre lots, and gave each family 40 acres. And black people were very excited about that because they had a farm. They had 40 acres. Well, of course, Lincoln was assassinated. The new president came in and was soon decided that under the Constitution, the government can't take land from one person and give it to another. The government can take land, but only under the power of eminent domain. And under the power of eminent domain, the government has to pay for it.
And just like that, countless black families had to give up their new land.
And that was a very sad chapter because they had planted the fields and had crops growing, and they had to leave those farms. Now, I think it's important to point out that a few were able to keep the farms, and that was because of some sympathetic whites, and some worked out terms that the newly freed slaves could manage, and they could pay for it over a period of time. But basically, they didn't get the 40 acres. Freewoods Farm represents that 40 acres they didn't get.
Freewoods Farm was one of those rare situations where the newly freed slaves could work out a deal to pay for the farm. 2 more generations of black farmers worked tirelessly, growing crops like rice and even producing turpentine.
But it was this 3rd generation, the grandchildren of the original settlers. They served in the First World War, and they used their monies earned in the First World War to buy up the rest of the land in this area. So what we do here at Freewoods Farm is we tell the story of what they did, what those black farmers did during that first century of freedom.
Like Farmer Smalls said, a living museum where pictures, videos, and even interviews can't fully capture how it feels to stand on its soil and listen. You can find the farm at 9515 Freewoods Road in Myrtle Beach. To set up a tour, give them a call at 843-650-9139 or visit www.freewoodsfarm.com.